been an educator at Breathitt County High School for many years, and so we thought we would do an interview with Miss Donna and kind of see what her advice to new and veteran teachers alike might be. So Donna, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're at in your career?
Well, I am getting ready to retire after this year. This will be my last year. I've had 32 years in the school system. I have been very fortunate to have all 32 of those years at Breathitt County, in Breathitt County School District. I spent 5 years at LBJ, 2 years at SES, or SMS, and 1 year at Highland Turner, and the remainder has been at the high school. I have spent about 25 years here at the high school.
Wow, that's
So
awesome. So tell us a little bit about your experience, and I didn't know this until I think yesterday, and Brenda and I were doing a little bit of prep work, but you started out as a paraprofessional, is that right?
I did. I started out as an instructional assistant for special needs children, and I was with one young man for 10.5 years. One of my favorite memories with him was learning him to be potty trained.
Oh, okay.
When I got him in 2nd grade, he was, not able to do that, and we worked up a system to where he could let me know when he had to go to the bathroom, and we got him taken care of. So.
That's so awesome. I love that, and I love it because it changed his life for the rest of his life. It's different.
Another thing that actually changed it is the communication system, which taught him the communication system. You can tell him about that. He just loved it, and he wanted to use it all the time.
Yeah,
he wanted to talk a lot.
What we did is, he was in a wheelchair, of course. He had cerebral palsy, and we would take pictures of different things, and we taped them right on there. And when he wanted something that he couldn't communicate to me like easily, then he would point to that, and I knew which category it was going into. But the bathroom signal, all he had to do was like that. So it was easier for him, and he could do that. He was a smart young man. He was had physical impairments.
Awesome. So what advice would you give to paraprofessionals who may be watching this today, being that you've kind of had both roles, the teacher and the para, but what is some of your advice for paraprofessionals?
Well, my first advice for classified and certified people is don't go into it just as a job. You got to work from your heart, especially with special ed kids, and you got to treat them just like they're your own kids. So.
That's some good advice. Definitely so. So, in a world where, Donna, you could have been anything you wanted to be, because I've worked with you a long time, and I know Brenda has too, so you could have been anything. You could have been a rocket scientist, a doctor, a lawyer, but you chose to be a teacher. And tell us a little bit about why you chose to be a teacher.
I have just always wanted to have an impact on others. But one of the main things, other than God himself, the main impact was my family. They kept pushing me. They said, Mom, you need to go ahead and become a teacher. I mean, I was an instructional assistant for 19 years, and I was satisfied. And in this world today, you can't just be satisfied. You've got to work for something stronger, something bigger other than yourself.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I have to really talk about that as well, because Donna, when I was the director of special ed, she was one of my paraprofessionals. And I looked at her as a teacher, not as an instructional assistant. And the reason why I did that is because she played teacher roles.
Yeah.
And then one day I just come right up to her and I said, you're doing a lot of teaching, but you're getting paid as a paraprofessional.
Yeah.
But she said she loved her job and she loved working with the students. And that's Donna. You have to know Donna. She's compassionate now. She's compassionate with her work and with her students. And I can say with her students because she considered them her students too.
Yeah.
So she finally got into school, and now she started making the money that she should have been making 19 years.
Yeah.
In the way. But anyway, I'm just glad she did become a teacher, because we need more teachers like her that's more compassionate. And she says, brings it from the heart.
Yeah. It makes such a difference when it comes from the heart.
And you know, I'm very appreciative with the support that I've had, such as Brenda, and because I never thought of that I could actually be a teacher. You know, I just thought this was what I was supposed to do, was be an instructional assistant, and so I was, again, satisfied with it. But after she had the conversation with me, she said, Donna, she said, I want you to start going to the trainings. She said, I want you to start looking as being a teacher. So with her, and especially my oldest daughter, she went a year of college before I even attempted it, and with that together, I guess that's where the ball started rolling.
That is so cool, and you know, especially it speaks a lot for Brenda to step out and say, hey, Donna, go and do this, and I know she had supported you along the way, so.
That's why me and Brenda gets along so good. We're so much alike.
Yeah,
We are.
Hey,
But
that's-
I'm the oldest.
I'm catching.
She's gonna catch up with you now, Brenda. All right. So looking back over the years, I know you did tons of projects and so many fascinating projects, but what were some of your favorite accomplishments and some of your favorite projects as a teacher?
Well, I tell you, my favorite is working with the ARI grants, or the innovation grants. You know, I love to teach the kids academics, but sometimes we have kids, especially in special ed, that is just not that interested. They will do what you want them to do, to jump through them hoops to get that diploma, but their faces really light up when you give them a drill, or you teach them how to use a hand saw that they've never used, you know. And some of my favorites, of course, is I guess my all-time favorite would have to be with Ted Hudson. He was a special needs child, and he would come from the very first time I talked to him. He said, Miss Combs, he said, I'm going to become an author and illustrator. I said, okay, are you? You know, because I've had kids with big dreams before, but they never lived through it. And he said, yes. So I co-teached with a young lady, Miss Sebastian, and he told us both that he was going to become it. Well, little did I know I would have a big impact on that. But he did. He went on to either write or help with 3 different books before. He was the first student at Breathitt High School to ever become an author and illustrator while attending school. And then another one of my favorites, of course, is one of my young ladies. She wasn't even in my class, but after we got that book published with Ted, they come and started talking to me, and they said, we need you to help. So it was an FMD student, and so we got her published as well. And then a regular ed child, you know. With me, when I'm working with kids, I don't see them as special ed or regular ed or exceptional or you know, regular education. I just see them as our kids here at Breathitt High School, and that some way we've got to help them.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, and you know, I think so many of our kids, be whatever their grouping is, special ed or regular ed or exceptional, they don't realize that you can be an author, and I love that because you supported that for those students. So
well, another
cool.
one of my favorites is we had a young man. He was a regular ed. Well, while I was working with Ted, he got fascinated, and he was in our co-teaching class, sophomore English, and he started hanging around. And before I know it, that child, he started designing T-shirts and started doing drawings on the school here, and he's got drawings all over this place. He's going to start his own business and stuff with that. So, you know, you just never know where you will help and touch a child's life in education.
Definitely so. And I'll tell a little story, and I can't remember where I heard this at, if it was at the summit or here at the school or where, but I heard one of your students talking about your projects that you do. And this student said, these are the projects that we should be doing to learn this. I think it was geometry, I think is what she was talking about, but she said this is what we should be doing. I thought that was so cool because I thought, that's exactly right, hands-on learning.
I have an EBD child right now that you know, before he come to me from the day treatment, and he had some difficulties, but once he got in here and we started doing things like that, I mean, you can see the raised benches or the raised gardens, and we've done benches. And since I've got him incorporated with hands-on activities and stuff, the main thing with these kids, especially the EBD students, is to earn the respect.
Yeah.
You gotta show them that you're interested in not just what you need out of them, but what you can help them with.
That's so cool. I love that. How might other teachers strive for those same kind of accomplishments and to work with their students in the same way that you have?
Don't count it, don't look at it as a 9-to-3 job, 9-to-3 working hours. With kids that you want to be successful, you're gonna have to spend some of your time. You're gonna have to, and as bad as I hate to miss my family events, and I try to attend all of my family events, sometimes you have to miss some family events or some family time with it, but expect to work more than 9-to-3 or 8-to-3.
Definitely. So that's definitely some good advice.
I have to interject and say, we had Special Olympics here when I taught here at Brenda High School, and fundraisers was a big piece of that because we went all over the state of Kentucky playing some type of a sport because we were involved in all the Special Olympic pieces. And Donna came to me, being compassionate like she is, and she said, I can do a horseshoe tournament.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that would be great. And needless to say, I didn't think we would have so many people that registered to be in this tournament, but they were like, they were sets, they had 2 people in each one, but we had like 30 people. And it's just like, oh wow, this is just unreal. And we had so much fun watching them because they were really good. Some of them were, well, her and her dad were something else. I mean, they must practice that every day because they were good at horseshoes. They just pitched them things like nothing. But she has been involved in a lot of community work. And, like she's talking about these grants every year, and we're going to miss you.
Yeah, definitely.
And the community is going to miss you because not only does she work here at this school and help these students, she's out here in Breathitt County, in Hazard, at the VA. She took some blankets up there. They made picnic tables that they took up there, as well as the Jackson Nursing Home. And the hospital. I mean, she's continually like pillows, just name it. She has made it, she's done it. She can saw, she can drill, she can do, and I think it amazes her students.
Oh, yeah.
Especially the boy students. It's like, she knows how to use that. So, and it encourages the girls to get involved as well. She has a lot of girls too that are involved in these projects. And it amazes me. She amazes me. She just amazes me.
With the projects that I do, I picked some of the projects like what you would think would be a boys project and one that would be a female project. But then I turn the students, they have to work on the opposite projects. So on the wood projects, usually I have a lot of the girls that's working on them as well. And on the sewing or the thing, what most people would consider as female, I usually get the guys more involved in that. So we work together to try to increase their knowledge of skills that they'll use after school.
That is so cool. I love that. All right. So we've talked a lot about advice. So we have a large number of new special education teachers in our region and probably in the whole country at this point. But so being a teacher is tough. I really think it's one of the hardest jobs in the whole wide world. So how would you advise those teachers to come in and get started, and not only that, but to stick with teaching? What's some just general advice you would give those folks?
Well, you got to do it with things that you like. You've got to enjoy it before you can teach other people how to enjoy it. But some of my advice to the new ones is just to make sure that you make a connection with your students and don't always isolate them or get people to recognize them as special ed. Yeah. You've got to treat them and you've got to include regular ed and special ed just like they're all regular ed. And they are.
They're
all regular ed students. We're just, all of us learn in a different way.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't say, okay, this is my special ed child, and I've gotta make sure that he does this or she does that. You just gotta say, our students has got to do this together, and this is how we're gonna get it accomplished.
Sounds awesome. That's some really good advice. So also, we talk a lot about self-care because, you know, we have so many teachers exiting schools now and kind of a shortage of teachers. So what are some things that you would recommend to teachers to do to take care of themselves?
You gotta make time for yourself. You've got to have something that you enjoy. But one thing that I enjoy more, or as much, is my crafts and hobbies, which that's what I've included into my ARI grants. I have involved a lot of the activities that I like, and if you do that, then you're going to enjoy working on them as much as you can get the kids, because they're going to see your passion working in it, and then they're going to have that same type of passion. I've got, right now with these raised gardens, I've got students, I've got a young man that is an EBD child. I can say, okay, you need to go ahead and put this bench, he knows to go get the screwdriver or the cordless screwdriver and get the battery and put on it, and then when he gets it all done, I mean, he can do it all himself. All I've gotta do is say go do it. And then, when he gets through, he puts his tools away, he knows which screws we use. So you just gotta incorporate stuff, not only with ARI grants, but with teaching in general. You've gotta find a interest that you like to do.
Definitely so. So what are some other things you'd like to share?
Well, first of all, again, you know, I thank God for giving me the opportunity. It was actually something that, you know, a lot of people wouldn't believe how I become a teacher, other than Brenda pushing me. The last year that I was an instructional aide, I had started going to school, and so the year that I passed my practice, and I prayed a lot that I would pass it, and I think I made 1 point above it, what I needed, but, and a misfortune of the gentleman that didn't pass his, I walked right into the teaching position that I was an aide into. So the kids was already used to me, and they knew, you know, they knew that I'm not just their leader, but I'm also a friend to them. So, but it was just a blessing the way that I become a teacher.
Yeah, definitely so. All right.
The main thing is you gotta be a friend to them, but you gotta always let them know that you're the leader of that group.
I love that. It's
Yeah,
so
they
cool.
just, you know, I really enjoyed my work, and I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss working with these students, and I'm gonna miss having an impact. You know, I've got a couple students, when I had COVID, I had a young man that quit, that left school probably 4 or 5 years ago. But he heard that I'd got COVID, and he called me every day. He messaged me every day, and he's gonna tell you doing. He's gonna tell you doing. And you know, you just, that just touches your heart when you know that they care about you. You know, I do enjoy my job.
Good for you. I'm so
Yes,
excited. Miss Brenda, is there anything else you would like to share as we close our video out?
We could talk all day about it.
I know. It gets me so excited just to hear about, you know, the impact that Brenda had on you, and then you pass that same impact on to so many students. I love that, and it makes me think, you know, when you see the good in somebody, you really need to push them and try to develop that, which is obviously been what Brenda has done, and she's done an amazing job.
She has been a very a great mentor, and I really appreciate the support. Sometimes I can be a little bit old-fashioned, I guess, and I'm set in my own way sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes my mouth gets in the way of my position. But, you know, I am from the old school, and I believe that kids need to respect their teachers and adults.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids nowadays is never taught that, because, you know, we don't live in a perfect world. So we have to find a way to help these kids adjust to a world that they can make better than what they've had before. But, you know, you was talking earlier about one thing that I'll always remember and kids, you know, you have a good relationship with your kids when one of them is ready to give birth and they ask you to go into the delivery room with them.
Yeah.
So that was my first adventure of ever seeing a new life come. You know, and that was with one of my students.
Yeah.
You know, even with my two girls, you know, the husband was always in there with them and stuff. But stuff like that you'll always remember.
Definitely so. Well, it sounds like you've certainly paid it forward. So thank you all so much for watching our video. I'm Cheryl Mathis, and this is Miss Brenda Combs. See you all, and we'll holler at you later.